fantastic to be here today. I'm really looking forward to this webinar session with SaltEdge. And from SaltEdge, we have got Alina with us. Alina, would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Alina Beleuta, Chief Growth Officer at SaltEdge. We are a technical service provider of open banking, a partner, a recent partner of NayaOne. We are one of the biggest aggregators in the world for open banking, connected more than 5,000 institutions to our solutions. And at the same time, we play hard in the RegTech sector, where we help financial institutions to enable open banking APIs all over the world to any global standard. And now we would only focus more on the Middle East, because it's an exciting time for Middle East now. I think I will be excited to speak about that today.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I just wanted to add, Alina, onto that. We love working with companies like SaltEdge because obviously it's fantastic tech, and then when you combine it with the tech that we've got there, it becomes accessible for all of these financial institutions. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for these financial institutions to both be able to evaluate open banking capabilities and then implement them and see how they could accelerate their innovation and their
Sure.
growth. And I think that very much speaks kind of to what NayaOne is about, in that we allow these banks and financial institutions to discover tech, test it, and then ultimately scale that through to production.
We'd love to be a part of this.
Fantastic. Yeah. What are the advantages of using SaltEdge to kind of offer open banking solutions for banks, for other financial institutions, and I guess also I know you guys work with a lot of other tech providers as well,
Yeah.
so that would be super to understand.
So from the perspective of the banks, it's always a challenge for the bank. First of all, open banking enables tough competition every time, and it's a matter of approaching it. So for most of the banks, opening up access to the open banking APIs and overall opening access to the third parties is something related to like a bullet point in a compliance list, right? But now more and more, especially in the Middle East, what I'm seeing from the bank is like, how can we integrate this exposure, and how can we benefit in the long run from this exposure, including having some new streams of revenue, because they already at some point collaborate with the third parties. And now they are looking for solutions that could provide that governance, that platform, that framework of how to actually collaborate in a more scalable way with the third parties. And this is where SaltEdge comes in. So in our range of products, and mostly we are delivering service more than just a product. We are offering open banking as a compliance service. So we enable financial institutions all over the globe to become compliant, first of all, with the standards of the open banking issued by the central banks. But we also have an extension of our products that enables, within the same framework, collaboration with non-regulated third parties. So our solution solves the first problem is like the interaction with the third party, the onboarding of the third party, the verification of their accreditation, of their certificates, the solving all the issues. So basically, what we do in the relationship with the third parties and the banks, we take all that struggle from the bank. Imagine in a market like UK, where you have tons of third parties. Imagine a market like Saudi, where you have more than 150 fintechs, and they all want to get a license because they can. And imagine all the struggle the bank has inside on the processes that they have to handle. So one thing to remember is that we take all the hustle away from the collaboration, and you have a clear, transparent way of collaborating with the third parties. On the other side, for the fintech, what is provided from within our solution is a easy sandbox where you can check your solution, can see how the API is working, make an easy flow and integration. It's something that any business model now needs, like a fast deployment, a fast integration, a low cost to go live, and so on. So this is the part of the benefits for the fintechs that integrate with our solution. And then there's the aggregation part, where consuming one single API, the fintechs get connections to all the banks in our network. Overall, when I'm thinking about what's different from SaltEdge and other players in the market, is that we do it all. So you need one player that from one side ensures you compliance and ensures you the regulations are in place, and from the other side allows you to consume and build those open banking use cases that everyone needs in order to monetize.
And you mentioned it there just at the end. You've got these open banking use cases that you need to monetize. Would it be possible to maybe to expand into some of those use cases that the financial institutions are using you particularly for?
The most, let's say, direct B2C side of the things would be the PFM and the multi-banking one. The most basic part of where you can use open banking for upselling and cross-selling the banking products would be to integrate open banking within your PFM feature of the web interface or mobile application, like allowing the user to see all their accounts in one place, and giving them tools to forecast, to put some budget goals, and to track in a way their activity and their behavior in order to, at some point in time, to offer them additional products of the bank or of the partners. And this is where even the banking as a service future services come in place, where you have the clear opportunity within the existing product of the bank to adapt the user to think of banking as broader than it's now. Other use cases, very classics of the open banking, would be automation of lending, right? This is more on the cutting the costs in the P&L than actually of a new revenue stream. But the majority of the revenue that I'm seeing within this place is on the B2B side, where we discuss about banking as a service and what you can do with a banking product, with a connectivity to multiple banks, and a software that allows, that is like targets a specific target audience, like SMEs with accounting platforms, with ERPs for corporates, treasury management, cash management, invoicing platforms. All of those need, besides having the software itself, need connectivity for automation and need banking products in order to supply more than just being like a software, something that supplies an existing tool, a live tool to move money, to get money, to see the money. Like everything is about money around. And there's the payments, e-commerce payments, offline payments in the retail. You have the future recurring payments and so on. So why everyone loves open banking in terms of payments is because they are cheap. Well, we can have a separate discussion about how well they work, but they for sure are cheap. This is kind of top stuff that we are working with our clients in terms of banks and financial institutions. And you see even in the Middle East, a lot of them migrating to thinking of banking as a service because they have the resources to do it. They have good products, very good products. And what they need platforms like us, and they need fintechs that are interested to promote their products and get new database of clients through the banks.
Fantastic. And you mentioned there your recent move, or not move, but the expansion, I should probably say, into Saudi and in the Middle East section. I was just wondering, what were some of the reasons you've made that decision, and what types of challenges are you seeing there, and how are you really helping those financial institutions solve open banking?
So we are kind of moved in our business model by regulations. And you will see in the Middle East, one of the most innovator regulator that we had to meet, it's Sama in the Saudi Arabia. And you'd see an example of how a regulator can actually drive the pace of implementing open banking. And from the other perspectives of, you'd see the Middle East rising and growing when we all here kind of struggle a bit. Let's put it like that. So for us, it's clear you have a big demand from the third parties. You have a lot of fintechs evolving. You have government pressure, central bank pressure, and all that. You have the example of Bahrain that went live with the open banking a few years ago. So in terms of the challenges, I think the challenges that initially Bahrain market saw, and the lack of a big demand from the third parties, and the maybe not that good quality of the APIs exposed by the banks. This is what goes well in Saudi. So it's high demand from the third parties. It's openness of the banks to build the APIs, and they have the technical standard to do it, and they have the timelines and so on. The challenges are, I think, like all over the globe. I think first, the most major one is like understanding the strategy, understanding the business value behind open banking, because business have to drive open banking and the implementation of use cases, and that comes with the lack of talent. It's very hard to kind of find a person that understands both the technical part, the business challenges, the compliance, the security one, and so on. But this is something that the industry itself will grow in time. We are trying to contribute to that by developing workshops for the banks, for the financial institutions. We are very welcoming to build them sandboxes, demo environments, and showcase so they easy understand how this will look like actually. Like, what's that developer portal? What the relationship will be like, and what will the flow be like, how the consent will look like, and so on. Right? And other major is the part of the relationship itself, because Saudi especially is it's a big number of third parties that will come in stage. Everyone wants connections to the banks, and the bank will have to manage correctly the relationship with the third parties. There are different concerns in terms of security, in terms of liability, and so on. So these are challenges that we solve within our solution, because when you embark on a journey with a vendor like Soltage, this is our business, to maintain compliance to the open banking standards and the open banking regulations at any point in time. We develop for the bank all the changes that are needed at any point in time, and we keep the relationship on our side, that we kind of make it everything automatically, dynamic registration, onboarding, first line of support, all that, so that the bank has one person maybe dedicated to govern all that, but most of the resources have to go into building the use cases themselves. How does NayaOne brings banks and the fintechs together for all this innovation going on?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and it's exactly aligned to what you were describing there. With there's so much change and digital transformation and constant innovation going on in these banks, and that's really where NayaOne sits. So the kind of ethos we have is we kind of allow tech to be discovered, so the right tech to be found by the banks that solve their real business problems. Those financial institutions are then able to evaluate that tech, and then ultimately that tech can then be scaled to production, and the banks can be confident that that tech will scale to the level of quality, and there's high levels of assurance there. And you can kind of break that down in a little bit more detail in that the piece on discovery is so key, in that we've got a marketplace that the banks and the financial institutions we work with are constantly using to discover tech and make sure that they can solve the problems. And then once they've even found the technology that they're interested in, we provide sandbox environments both to the financial institutions but also to tech providers, so that tech providers are able to go out their way and go, look how fantastic my tech is. This is a safe, secure environment. You can, as a bank, can come and play with my APIs, exactly like you mentioned, Alina. You can come in and the financial institutions can see, oh, this is how it would look. This is what my tech would look like if I
This
was to start to integrate.
helped me a lot during the sales cycle in Saudi, showing how this looks like, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The ability to be able to go, yeah, this is what it would look like. This is what your developers would need to do. And then they can understand it at such a greater depth. No, fantastic. And that's really what NayaOne is really up to when we're talking about driving that innovation and that digital transformation piece.
Right.
Fantastic. Alina, I wanted to just offer you a chance. Did you have anything else that you wanted to comment on here, or was there anything else you wanted to mention about SaltEdge and maybe some of your ongoing growth?
I just want to say that we are currently expanding to Jordan and to other jurisdictions in the Middle East, and our solutions are right there, and we are there to help you with building those strategies and building those use cases. And we have partners like NayaOne, where we can showcase how the solution look like. You can touch it, you can test it, you can ask questions, and we are here to build together a talent network for all of us to benefit from it. And we are here to build an ecosystem that all of us will benefit it. So let's do it.
No, fantastic. Well, Alina, just really wanted to thank you and the whole SaltEdge team, I guess, who are fantastic to work with, for your time. And yeah, it's been really, really great discussing both SaltEdge today with you and also some of your expansion over to Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
Cheers.
Thank you.